Hello all, and welcome to another Jollymun Podcast. It's a beautiful early afternoon here in where I live. 2:09 p.m. Sun is out, but there's enough clouds in the sky where I feel like life is real. Because if it's too sunny, you start thinking, actually, life's going a bit too good at the moment. Something's got to go wrong any minute. I mean, you're looking up at the bright blue sky, the sun, and then you feel something wet underfoot, and yeah, that's right, the pavement's been littered. That's how I feel. That's what I expect on a sunny day. It can't be all that good. It's just not realistic, really. It's been a fantastic time. Things are slipping by, I suppose. I feel like everyone is so unbelievably distracted at the moment. All sorts of things could be happening. They could be inverting carrots. If I went to a shop and I went to pick up a bag of carrots, I'm almost sure you could put all sorts of things on a label, maybe like cabbage. You could write cabbage on the label. You could write something along the lines of inverted beetroot, and I'd probably pick it up completely comfortably, content with the idea of eating a carrot. Because there's all the distraction of wearing a mask, and oh no, what's this man doing? Oh, that man's not wearing a mask. Oh, I wonder if he's breathing out of his nose or his mouth. Maybe his breathing system doesn't work, and actually he's still got a face, but actually he breathes out of a little hole in the back of his head, like a whale or something. And actually he's got a little mask on that one. I never like to judge people too much. You never know what's going on. I'm sure there'd be multiple situations where I've heavily judged someone. In fact, I know that we judge each other and then actually it turns out to be wrong. Sometimes I think, God, that person's they come across a bit like that, and oh God, I'm not really too sure. They're fine. I lie to myself. I say, they're alright. They're just, that's just what they do. And then you find out later on that X, Y, Z's happened to them. They never saw Santa Claus when they were young, didn't have a fireplace. In fact, they were actually stuck up fireplaces because they had difficult times. And you sort of think, oh, that's quite understandable. People are like that for a reason. And sometimes, actually, it's not, kind of is their fault, because you can kind of be aware of it. But I value, it's almost a weakness to act behaving a certain way due to your past, I think. We're all victims. That's not talking about myself, that's just in general. You notice it, you see it. But it's good. The one thing that keeps me going is you go down to the park, and the dogs are still in a really good mood, dogs are still running, they're still chasing frisbees, nothing's changed. I don't know what you have to do to surprise a dog. Maybe throw it a frisbee, but make it a square instead of a circle or something. How could you surprise a dog? They're just so good. I guess they just come home from a walk and they lie down. They keep lying down. Think of all the crap dogs don't have to do. I've got to renew my bus pass. Just unenjoyable, unpleasant. If I was a dog, my owner would do that for me, free of charge. Now, God dearie me, I'm such a victim. I used to get free transport, and now I'm complaining about having to pay for transport. How privileged am I? Also, the government's even thinking about making it so that kids have to pay for buses. They're going to put charges back on buses, which is, poor things, You get on the bus and you have a packet of Smarties in your hand, or Maynard says chew. Sit down, get on, beep. And then you get to go to wherever the hell you want. Wheels on the bus go round and round. It's pretty cool, really. What else is happening in the news of transport? They're putting, when we were all meant to be in lockdown right at the start, and everyone was, Alfie, you mustn't go meet up. Or Mr. Tomlinson, you can't go and see Mr. Beaconsfield for afternoon brunch. That's not allowed anymore. What they were doing is they were secretly building this train line, and this train line was gonna evict all of the worms and chaffinches, blue tits that lived in this forest, because it was gonna make it faster for businessmen to get from Sheffield to Buckinghamshire or something like that. Little bit embarrassing, really. I don't know what it's going to take for us to think, actually, bluebell forests, I do quite like them personally. What gives? Where are we going to get to? Are we going to get to the business, I don't know, I get on a bus There's like a business train line, and I sit in my seat. In the moment the seat feels the weight, the force from the trousers which contain my cheeks pushing down on the seat, a cappuccino pops up on the right hand side of me, or something like that, and like a laptop unfolds from the ceiling and opens immediately to Excel spreadsheets. All of this. I mean, why we just keep catering to people who do spreadsheets and earn money? It's not really that. I think there's a bit of a problem there. Yeah. And they all walk around with their briefcases. That's what's strange about going to central London, is you're like, wow, I mean, London, what a beautiful city. At the centre of London, you've got the Queen, you've got all of the cultures of London. It's notorious, the amount of music, bands, the boom, the comedy boom, the music booms, all of these things that happened 30 years ago, and you think, the centre of London, the focal point. You go there, and it's just a load of men with business suits, wearing Apple AirPods, listening to, the Business Weekly Wall Street podcast hosted by Sir Alan Sugar, and it's just like, actually, it's a great opportunity here to look at cool things. Always glass does look quite nice though. I think graffiti should be everywhere, man. I read Banksy's book Wall and Peace. He's just a very funny chap, and he draws nice things. He draws rats, he draws kids. They're all very artistic. It's really nice. I think we should have that on everywhere. Just walk down, you can see like a balloon and things. A balloon, and it's red. It's much nicer than plain concrete. Granted, the reason that we don't have lovely things is because to be in a position where you actually get to have those kind of effects, you have to spend 5 years being part of a party, and then you go up and then you sit in that chair, and this chair's got a label on it which says you're more senior, and then after 3 more years of debating and holding checkboards, you move on to the next chair which says, you're even more superior now. And anyway, by the end of your 8th chair, it's like musical chairs, except everyone's singing cries of misery. You realise, God, I don't care about the graffiti anymore. I'm gonna sit here and just make noises whenever people say things politically. You can't. I'm pretty sure you can't avoid politics. Not possible. I've tried. Always end up grunting about it. How sad I am. The best bit is that the issue that you have with politics is that you hate it, or you hate the way it's run. But the only way you can change it is by like getting more involved in it. It's sort of like a little bit of a paradox. Utmost unpleasant, I tell you. Imagine being able to affect the way your country's run. No. Considering how quite a few countries out there not having the best time, probably a lot of dictatorships. Oh dear. And what do? I sit here and I complain. The dogs are happy though. The dogs are happy. Remember, don't forget. The dogs are happy. They're not complaining. They got circular frisbees. They run around. It's so cute. When I work in the pub, all these dogs come in and I go and give them a chat. Go and talk to them. I talk to the owner as well a little bit, but not really. And there was an enormous greyhound in the pub the other day. It was huge. I was at one end of the table, put the drinks down. Okay, here are your drinks. You can't take payment. They're right. And the greyhound's head is poking out. It's kind of between my legs because I'm standing over trying to take payment. And I'm like, there's a greyhound on the floor. This is really lovely. It's got quite a sleek face. It's very narrow. Kind of thing you could, I don't know, it looks a bit like a door wedge, this greyhound. Its head at least. Nothing to be ashamed of. Anyway, so I'm like, cool, thank you for taking payment. I walk around the table, which is about probably 1.5 meters long. And then I'm walking around and I have to dodge the tail of the greyhound. That's two extremes. It's such an extensive tail. And legs and things. It's really cool. Those kind of animals, they're so bewildering to me. Like, their hips are like... I don't know. That kind of form, that like slenderness. It's really cool. They run like hell. I don't think they're very clever though, greyhounds. There's an air of arrogance to a greyhound as well. I think that they're too quick for their own good. Because... I don't know if because their brains are small, but they don't like socialising, so whenever I see a greyhound at the park, it's usually just kind of walking slowly. But if I could run that fast, I'd run everywhere. But that said, I mean, I'm sure if a man in a wheelchair who had some kind of nerve problem saw me walking around lazily, slowly getting onto a bus and sitting down before unfolding my phone. Probably think the same thing. Maybe I'm just a greyhound to somebody else. I could go for runs. You could go for runs. Whoever's listening, you could probably go for a run. I don't think I've got any legless listeners. I don't think I've got many listeners at all, actually. In fact, I don't think I have a listener. We can boil that down very quickly. If you're talking to a microphone for 15 minutes every week, no one listens to it. You wasted your time. There's no jokes here about physics or quantum mechanics. God damn, I'll tell you something. I'll finish this book. Right, when I say finish this book, I don't mean I read the last word. I mean I closed it and was like, Jesus Christ, I'm never going to open this again and attempt to push my brain against this wall of boring, dull stuff. It's meant to be a good book as well. It just wasn't. It just didn't tingle my fancy. Didn't wimble my wombat. Didn't outcrop the wing cap. Then you move on to a book which is less notorious, and it's like, oh wow, this is very enjoyable. Books. Oh, I watched The Clockwork Orange. I read the book. I watched the film. It's so cool. Stanley Kubrick. What a crazy chap. It's quite a violent film. They kind of run around, and he's wearing like a suit, and they wear like these wearing like a white overcoat, and then they've got, cricket. Anyway, I don't know if anyone's ever played cricket, all my listeners, but sometimes you have a thing you cup over your vulnerable locations. Anyway, in the film, everyone kind of wears one, and they run around. It looks really odd. It's kind of strange. How embarrassing. Oh, I've opened up Pandora's box. I've just remembered a childhood memory involving one of those things, which is really embarrassing. I had one in my pocket just because I'd been at cricket. I'd done cricket once, then realised all you do is stand around. And then oh God, I was with this girl. I don't know where we were on. Like, I think we'd met. We were very young, so we were with parents or whatever. And I was like, in my head, I was like, I'm gonna impress her. God, yeah, she's gonna see that if I show her that I have a cricket thing which protects my vulnerable areas, she's gonna know that I'm a man. Or I don't know what was going through my head. Anyway, I kind of went, oh, what's that in my pocket? She kind of had no reaction. So then 30 seconds later I did it again. Oh, no game at all. Embarrassing. Awful. Yeah, alright, moving on from cricket accoutrements. Deary me. Deary me. I've got a really good memory, and it's very fun. Sometimes, in conversations, it's people go, "Oh, you remember that?" Or, "Oh, well, yeah, we talked about that, didn't we?" And it means that you can socialise much better because you can remember how people feel about things. You remember what they say, and you can kind of hold them up to it, and you get kind of deeper. But it also means that you kind of have, you sit at home, you kind of have immediate flashbacks of being 9 years old and not knowing how to communicate with people. I'm sure everyone has that. But I get quite a few. It kind of just makes me smile. I think it's just a coping mechanism. I'm not actually as happy when I think about it as I look like it when I am. Everyone's got those kind of things, I'm sure. There's no way you can't. You can't go through... I'm 18 now. I cannot... It's not possible for me to have lived 18 years and not go, ugh, God. Should not have been myself... I should just not have existed in that period of time. I wish I could have just been born when I was about 17, or kind of got my brain, and everything else had been fine. But then I wouldn't have anything to say, really, would I? I clearly have nothing to say anyhow. Nonetheless, I'm going to end the podcast here. It's very enjoyable. Thank you very much for being here. It's been a joy. So I'll see you for the next podcast, and goodbye. Sorry about the break, also.